Keir Starmer, as we know, loves a flag. Can't ever have too many flags, declaring his patriotism and his devotion to the UK. But given who funds him and other key figures in the Labour Party, is it really the UK that's coming first with Labour these days? The always excellent Asa Winstanley at Electronic Intifada has published a piece regarding a meeting between Labour's Shadow Secretary of State for Justice, Steve Reid, back in 2020, and representatives pushing pro-Israel agendas, including the Board of Deputies of British Jews, the Community Security Trust, and the Jewish Leadership Council, represented at this meeting by one Trevor Chinn, the JLC executive, who also happens to be on the executive of the pro-Israel lobby group BICOM. He's on the far left of this picture, at least, with Tony Blair there on the far right, which is entirely appropriate. Minutes of the meeting showed they discussed things you might expect the Israel lobby to push, such as adoption of the flawed IHRA definition of antisemitism, encouraging Labour to support the Tories in their anti-BDS legislation so as to not be able to boycott Israeli goods and services in solidarity with Palestine, cracking down on outspoken Labour councils, getting more councillors into Labour Friends of Israel and getting them onto those paid junkets to Israel so they can be schmoozed even further. And Steve Reid was apparently all too accommodating towards this. Now, they urged Reid to work with Luke Akers to facilitate this, seen on the left here next to Keir Starmer's leadership campaign deputy field manager and current head of political organising in the Labour Party, Matt Pound, in the middle, along with Marlon Solomon, who is an actor, apparently. The T-shirts say it all. Now, Akers, of course, sits on Labour's National Executive Committee. He recently decided to tweet that he thought the UN was anti-Semitic as a result of them agreeing with an Amnesty International report exposing Israeli apartheid. You would think such an assertion against the United Nations, for goodness sake, would earn him a bollocking, get him sanctioned by Labour to some extent. But of course, he's from the right Labour faction, the pro-Israel faction. He's been director of We Believe in Israel since 2011, a pro-Israel advocacy group set up to push Israeli interests in the UK, set up and funded by BICOM, bringing us back to Trevor Chinn again. Akers is literally paid to push Israeli interests in the UK, yet he sits on Labour's highest decision-making body, a party that wants to run the UK, so surely the conflict of interest here is obvious. Starmer won't touch him, of course, do anything about this situation because old Trevor Chinn, back to him again, on the executive of the body paying Akers wages, also bankrolled Starmer's leadership campaign to the tune of £50,000 and is likely the reason Starmer wouldn't at the time declare who was funding his campaign, despite his rivals having happily published theirs. We then have so many other examples, from Annalise Dodds accepting donations from corporate lobbyist Weber Shandwick, who used to have this guy working for them, to the list of donations from figures like Trevor Chinn to currently serving MPs, especially those in Starmer's shadow cabinet. For as long as this kind of money is buying Labour Party influence, for as long as pro-Israel lobbyists enjoy positions of power in the Labour Party, Labour under Keir Starmer will keep facing accusations, and justifiably so, of having been bought and paid for to act not in this nation's interests, but in those of an apartheid state instead.